leaving money on the table. Many educators unknowingly fall into tax traps that could cost them hundreds or thousands of dollars. So today, I'll show you how to avoid the most common pitfalls and keep more of your hard-earned money. I'm Debbie Major, your host for Educators Financial Foresight Weekly, and I am glad that you joined us today. Teachers, you give so much every day. You're shaping lives and you're inspiring the future. But when it comes to your retirement, the path forward can feel uncertain. If you're an educator juggling demands of busy schedules and financial stress, you are not alone. Many teachers worry about outliving their savings, or managing their pension, or ensuring long-term care without burdening their family. With pensions often alone falling short, many educators struggle to bridge the gap between what they need and what they have for a secure retirement. That's where Educators Financial Foresight Weekly comes in. Each week, I'll guide you through clear, actionable steps to understand your pension and spot hidden gaps, build a retirement income strategy tailored to your needs, protect your savings from inflation and unexpected costs, and plan for long-term care and estate needs without burdening your loved ones. Your career has been about making a difference. Tune in every Thursday at 11:30 a.m. Eastern on YouTube and LinkedIn. Let's build a retirement as rewarding as your career. Welcome to today's broadcast. And again, thanks for joining me today. Last week and the past few weeks, we've been talking about your pension gap and how to fill it and maybe some problems and some issues that might be with your 403B. Well, today we're going to shift our focus a little bit to tax traps that you might want to avoid or that you could avoid, or maybe some things that would help you save some money on taxes. Well, I know this is a heavy subject. And so I want to start off with a little bit of levity. I do everything with my dog, Rookie, and I wondered what it would be like if he had to file taxes. Well, thank you to Crusoe the Dachshund for showing us how. So here's the issue. Many educators miss out on tax benefits and unknowingly make tax mistakes. So I've got 5 people I'd like us to meet. All right. First one is Miss Kim. She's a 3rd grade teacher and she spends about $250 annually on classroom supplies like posters, craft materials, and books. She doesn't realize that she can deduct those expenses, so she misses out on a tax break year after year after year. Next, we've got Mr. Carter. Now, he's a music teacher and he's giving piano lessons on weekends to supplement his income. He doesn't realize that he needs to report this extra income as a Schedule C filing. When he gets an audit notice just 2 years later, he ends up paying a penalty as well as the taxes. 3, let's picture Dr. Morales. He's a high school teacher who enrolls in online courses to learn about AI in education. He's paying $1,200, but he doesn't know he qualifies for the lifetime learning credit, and that could give him an extra $600. Then there's Ms. Lee, and she tutors remotely from her dining room table. She claims a home office deduction for her whole living room, not realizing that the IRS limits the area exclusively to what's used for work. She gets flagged for audit during a review. And then we've got Coach Jenkins. He's contributing to his 403B retirement plan, but he doesn't maximize his contributions, leaving significant tax savings on the table. How can each of these educators save on their taxes or fix their tax mistakes? All right, so what can we do to help these educators get the most out of getting either taxes back or filing your taxes correctly? So first off, I mentioned Miss Lee, and she was spending money on her classroom supplies. Now, I know I said she just spent $250 for her classroom supplies, and many of you spend much more than that. I know I spent much more than that when I was teaching. But you can claim up to $300 for your classroom supplies every year. Don't overlook this, because even if it saves you $50 on your taxes and you work for 20 years, it does add up. So don't just throw it aside, but keep those receipts up to that first $300. Then we had Mr. Carter. He was that music teacher that was giving piano lessons on the side, and he didn't realize that he needed to claim that income as a Schedule C. Well, what's a Schedule C, you ask? Good question. It is for self-employment. So if you are providing services for someone for like he was doing, where it's the piano teaching on the outside, or tutoring or something like that where you're getting paid, then you would file for self-employment. Self-employment is on Schedule C. You put in your income, you put in your expenses, and then they tell you how much tax that you owe. You have to pay Social Security as well as income taxes on that money. Sometimes if you work for other places that give you a 1099 form, those would go on a Schedule C also, and you would count that as income for your income there. All right, now we had Ms. Morales. She was the high school science teacher, and she enrolled in a class because she is right on top of things and wants to see how she can get AI into education. Now, she can use what's called the Lifetime Education Credit, and she can get up to a $600 tax credit. So she pays $1,200, but she still gets a credit toward her taxes when she files. You can claim the Lifetime Learning Credit for educational expenses required to attend your school, including tuition and school fees. It could also include equipment and supplies that are required to participate in the class. So this isn't like getting your bachelor's degree or something like that for using the other credit we use for education. This is the Lifetime Learning Credit. All right, what about that home deduction that Ms. Lee wanted to use for tutoring remotely from her dining room table? Well, if she's got her dining room table and it's set up and it is solely for the purpose of teaching, and that's all that she does, she can claim that area around her dining room table and that square footage as an exemption for her home. But she could never claim her whole living room, because you don't use the whole living room is used for other things and it's not dedicated space. For home office, the IRS does want to see dedicated home space that is set up directly for what you're doing, and that's what the major portion of what you're doing is happening. You're working in that office, and that would be your home office, which makes sense. I will say that it is important because if you're flagged during audit, they're going to ask more questions, which usually could end up in maybe more taxes or maybe not so many things being deducted. So pay attention to that. All right, and then lastly, we had Coach Jenkins, and he was not contributing to his 403B enough or very much, and he didn't maximize it, so he was leaving significant amount of tax savings on his plate. because the money that you put into your 403b is directly taken out of your gross amount that you make, and you're taxed on whatever's afterwards. So for example, if you earn $75,000 and you contribute $10,000 pre-tax to your 403b, you'll pay taxes on $65,000 versus $75,000. And what a lot of people enjoy with that is the extra benefit of you enjoy it right along the way, because for 403b, your deductions are taken out from at the employer level, and so you are automatically at that lower tax level when they're taking them out. So there are some solutions for our 5. We've got the unclaimed education deduction, we have misunderstood self-employment taxes, we have overlooking continuing education credits, don't improperly use your home office deduction. And one note to make that I meant to make there was that if you're a W-2 and you get a W-2 and you're an employee and you're working from home, or you're doing your lessons from home, then that will not count as a home office deduction at all anyway. And then the last thing would be, don't neglect your retirement savings contribution. That's how we solve for these tax traps. Well, we're starting a new thing this week. A tradition that I mentioned in the beginning. I do pretty much everything with my dog, Rookie. And I was chatting with him this morning, and he said, I really would like to be part of Educator's Financial Foresight Weekly. So maybe you could share with them a quote of the week that I like. So here we go. Today's quote of the week from Rookie is from Albert Einstein. The hardest thing in the world to understand is the income tax. Nothing like listening to one of the smartest men in the world. All right. Now here's a question that I get a lot that comes with taxes. And that is, what is the difference between a tax deduction and a tax credit? Well, tax credits and deductions both decrease the total that you'll pay in taxes, but they do work in different ways. A tax credit is actually a dollar for dollar reduction of the money that you owe, where a tax deduction is going to decrease your taxable income, which is going to lead to a slightly lower tax bill. If you have questions or comments, please, you can DM me on LinkedIn, or please put them in the comments below the show notes. I'm happy to stay after, and I will answer whatever comes up, and I will answer your DMs if you have questions on these concepts or anything I talked about. I feel like I talked a lot today, and I know I covered a whole bunch of things, and I threw a lot out at you at once. So I don't want you to feel like you're not being heard, because you are. And so if you have questions, please feel free to let me know. Okay, well, time for a couple of disclaimers. First, I'm not a tax preparer, nor do I work for the IRS. This is general tax advice. So it's important that you talk to your tax advisor when deciding what you're going to do as far as your deductions, and stay updated on tax laws. Do remember to keep detailed records. Use tax software or consult a professional. And if you want to be more financially savvy, you can watch my masterclass. You'll find the link in the show notes. Please don't forget, subscribe, share the video with your friends, tell other educators about the show. Remember, every dollar you save on taxes is a dollar you can invest in your future. Don't let tax traps hold you back. If you found this helpful, hit that subscribe button, share this with a fellow educator, and let's keep more of our hard-earned money where it belongs. With you.